Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl are releasing in just 2 days. That means the review embargo has been lifted, and reviews are pouring in from every major gaming outlet. But what exactly are these reviewers saying? Let's discuss it. Let's start with the negative and talk about the positive later, so we can end on a good note. Something I've heard every reviewer so far mention is that these remakes are, and I quote, underwhelming. This stems from several factors that they take into account, the largest of which is the lack of platinum content. We all know we wanted platinum elements and story beats in these remakes, but not only have we been shunned of such, we also haven't had any replacement story beats or lore to make up for it. We do, however, have gameplay elements to supplement, but more on that later. As for now, the lack of platinum content does seem to be leaving many feeling empty, and it shows heavily in almost every review. Another underwhelming aspect mentioned across the board is the lack of polish to animations for both characters and Pokemon. Several reviewers cited the awkward segments of NPCs doing, quote, halt walking, where they walk or run, stop, turn, walk or run again, only to stop, turn, and start again. This is notably out of place, especially considering you can move your player character freely along the maps with the analog stick. 2D tiles be damned. One reviewer did cite this animation oversight as charming though, so I suppose it can be left up to taste what your verdict on this is. I personally am not a fan. As I mentioned, Pokemon animations are similarly lackluster. Lots of times, the models are simply picked up and down and moved left and right without moving their limbs. We're all pretty familiar with this by now, and hopefully this is the last Pokemon game we see this ugly practice in. Follow Pokemon have some issues with glitching in different ways too, but thankfully it's nowhere near the dumpster fire that was Sword and Shield's follow mechanic. Finally, the return to random encounters has left many feeling like this game has regressed a bit too much, even if it is a remake. I understand this completely, as random encounters were only ever implemented in old video games because the systems those games were on couldn't handle many functioning assets at once. So let's hope, once again, that this is the last time that we see this kind of mechanic in Pokemon. When it comes to the art style of Pokemon BDSP, there have been mixed feelings, as one would expect. Most of us love the chibi style and find it rather adorable, but others find it to be not so charming. Nintendo Life, who gave the game a 6 out of 10, cited the chibi style as being cheap and added it to their long list of things that made these remakes feel overly dated. I don't personally agree with them on that point, but I can see where they're coming from. It is an easier art style to make the game in after all. It's worth noting too that Nintendo Life is one of the most forgiving review sites out there. So BDSP being scored so low by them is saying a lot. Now let's look at the positives that have been praised from nearly every outlet. Additional gameplay mechanics, such as customization, super contests, and the Grand Underground, spice Gen 4 up a bit, as does a lot of the post-game content that reviewers apparently aren't allowed to talk about yet. Quality of life features such as HMs running on the Poketch have also been accepted and praised, even if they are a bit underwhelming in presentation at points. Backgrounds for Pokemon battles have been emphasized as the best in the series so far, as are the lighting effects throughout the game. Pacing in BDSP is also fast and satisfying, according to reviewers, and traversal is not handholdy, leaving the player to their own methods for progression. Awesome! Positives don't stop there though. The music has been applauded repeatedly and is a great win for players since Gen 4 is home to so many memorable tracks. Finally, the biggest win BDSP achieves above all else is nostalgia and charm. This is pretty much a given, as this is the one thing Pokemon has mastered over the years with its game developments. All this being said, it's worth noting reviewers were not given access to online features, so we'll have to wait and see how that holds up. We do know the 20-minute battle timer is returning, as well as a 60-second timer to make your move each turn. Make of that what you will. All in all, reviews seem fairly mixed to average for Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. But has this swayed you to pick these up or drop them like a hot plate? Let me know down in the comments at the same time as you smash those like and subscribe buttons.